What we have here is a boost. A signal boost. A boost for comic book Kickstarter campaigns. Brought to you by Spoiler Country. Each episode we bring you current campaigns that we think you should support, talk with the creators to give you insight into the project, and spread the love of indie comic books. Now sit back, grab a drink, and listen to what we have to offer you today.
All right, welcome back to Spoiler Country. It's another edition of the Kickstarter Signal Boost. I think this is number what, 16?
Number 16, and you totally threw me off because usually you say our names, and you didn't say our names this time.
I didn't say our names. I was going to say this and then say, I'm Kenric Regan. That is Mr. Horsley.
But I messed it up because I didn't know you were doing that, so now I fucked it all up. So I'm sorry.
It's okay. I kind of fucked it up too because originally I would have said our names and then gone into it. But then I went in because I was thinking in my head, which number is this? Is this number 15 or number 16?
Nope, this is number 16.
God, I can't believe it.
I would hope by now that if people listen to more than like 3 episodes, they would know our names because we say it every time.
Right.
But still.
Right. And really, before we get into everything, everybody should know that we actually have a YouTube channel that just launched, and we have a whole other show that we started doing called Drinks and Comics with Spoiler Country.
It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Why don't you give them the premises?
So the premise is it's pretty simple, but I think it's pretty genius. Basically, the idea is Kenric and I, we're not mixologists, we're not cocktail tenders, but we do like some tasty drinks.
That's right.
The whole idea is we make a drink the way we make drinks. So it might not be the perfect recipe people have, but it's what we make. And we'd make a drink, show you how we make it, and then we talk about a comic book or a movie or spend a couple minutes talking about something that's on our mind in the pop culture world.
That's right. And it's actually a lot of fun. We're learning a lot about video and all that kind of stuff. So if you're so inclined, go look up Drinks and Comics with Spoiler Country. And you can see we have 3 episodes out right now. We got one about Batman Damned, Spider-Geddon, Ghost Rider, and we've made everything from martinis to Long Island iced teas and birthday cake mudslides, and it's been a lot of fun, and we got a lot more coming. Let me tell you.
Yeah, we have a lot of ideas for that show, so keep an eye out.
But today, it's all about Kickstarter Signal Boost.
It is. We got 2 amazing books for you today that I'm excited to talk about. I'm excited for you to hear me talk to the creators today and help them promote their books.
That's right. So the first one is, and I'm going to apologize now because I'll probably butcher her last name, and I sincerely apologize, but I'm going to try my best. And that's Melissa Capriglani with Falconhyrste.
That sounds close to what I remember her saying, so I think we're good.
Okay. Well, maybe we should just listen to what she has to say.
Sure, let's go ahead.
All right.
My name is Melissa Capriglione. I am the co-creator of a webcomic called Falconhyrste, which is going to be on Kickstarter this Friday, November 16th. It's a supernatural boarding school LGBT plus webcomic about a boy who accidentally awakens a demon. And we're currently kickstarting our 4th issue.
Oh, so have you done these before? You've done three before this one?
No, this is my very first Kickstarter, but we printed 1 through 3 with pre-orders, but nice. It actually ended up being a lot bigger reception to it than I expected, so it was kind of difficult to handle, like, freehand, I guess. I did it through Gumroad, so, like,
okay, yeah.
Fulfilling all the rewards and, like, trying to get everything organized was kind of a nightmare, so I figured if I'm going to be printing another one, I should do Kickstarter, which organizes everything for me, so.
I mean, that's cool that you had a huge response, though. It's got to feel good.
Yeah, I know. It was totally unexpected, but it was really nice.
Right. So what do you do on the book? Do you write? Do you draw?
I kind of do a little bit of everything. I co-create it with my friend Clara. I kind of have been like the forerunner of this because she's more of a hobby artist and she's in college right now, so she can't really take on as much, and I'm currently a full-time freelancer and comic artist, so I kind of have the time and abilities to put into this. So we both technically write. We kind of just edit each other and make sure we don't go crazy. And then I start out by doing the thumbnails, and then she does the pencils, and then the lettering, and then I do line work, colors, and painting. So
it's a full-on collaborative work there because you go back and forth. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really nice because we kind of check ourselves so we don't get carried away.
Yeah, I've done books in the past where it's just all me, and I end up putting myself into a corner where I'm like, well, now I don't know what to do because no one's watching what I'm doing.
Yeah, me too. I tend to put in way too many anime references, and she kind of keeps those out.
Yeah, I put a lot of references in my writing too. Just probably stuff nobody but like me and my core group of 3 friends understands. Yeah. But I have a buddy who I write with who's always like, "No, pull that out. That's not worth it."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
So, how long have you been doing the webcomic?
We started when I was a sophomore in college. I was 20 years old, and I basically, because I went to art school, and I was a sophomore, and so I would tell people, I want to be a comic artist, and then people would be like, oh, well, can I see some of your comic work? And I was like, I don't have any. So I decided to make a webcomic. Me and Clara met in December of 2015, and then we quickly wrote everything out. We wrote the whole script, the story, and everything. And then we premiered it on June 1st, 2016. So we've been kind of just plugging away at it since then. I graduated college in 2017, so the webcomic has kind of kicked up after I graduated because I have more time to dedicate to it.
Right. That's cool. I started doing webcomics back in 2003.
Yeah.
I did them from 2003 to the end of 2016, and then I switched to doing print comics.
Yeah.
But it's a whole different world of 2003 webcomics versus 2016 webcomics. It's a totally different market.
Exactly, yeah. Like, it's completely changed because even just a couple years ago, you're looking at a bunch of Kickstarters for print comics that weren't exclusively webcomics at first, and then now you have everybody who has a webcomic going to print on Kickstarter. So I think there's definitely more of a demand for printing webcomics now these days.
It's cool, too, because, like, coming from where I come from, I'm a little older than you. I'm in my 30s. Doing webcomics back in the early 2000s and stuff, it was very much looked down upon by the industry, because like, you do webcomics, like, you do those silly webcomics type of thing from comic pros. But it's turned into where it's like it's pretty much one and the same now. That webcomics is just another format. I mean, you see a lot of mainstream, big 2 comic artists and writers going and doing webcomics now. Like Warren Ellis is doing a webcomic again, so it's like. Mm-hmm. It's cool to see it's cool to finally see people like yourself who did webcomics being taken seriously, having a following like you do, and having the your first 3 books, I guess, exceed expectations and be able to print books and have a lifestyle out of it, which is it's really cool for me to see that.
Yeah, webcomics are really neat because I mean pretty much anybody can make a webcomic, and part of the reason why I started making it was because I wanted to get experience in this industry and to actually make comic pages, and it's a great way to get started and a great way to gain fans. People love webcomics. It's very accessible. I mean, you can just go online and spend the whole day reading webcomics for free.
Yeah. The barrier to entry is so low in webcomics too. It just either you're gonna have followers or you're not. If you have like instant gratification of knowing if the page you put out is good or not because people tell you.
Yeah, well, and then there's also like a million different ways you can post webcomics. I mean, you can post it on Webtoons, you can post it on Tapas, you can post it on your own website. I've seen people host on Tumblr, everywhere. Yeah. Every single social media site has its own audience that loves a certain type of webcomic. So having that accessibility to your audience is really nice to have.
Yeah, it's totally cool. And the fact that, you can do so many different types. You can do story-based, you can do gag-based, you can do... I have a buddy of mine who did a webcomic. He had an idea to do. It was called The Elderly Apple. And if you ever heard of it, I'd highly suggest checking it out. It's not like it's not fantastic art. What it is it's an idea a day, right? He wanted to do 1,000 ideas for 1,000 days, and he did it. He did one idea where it was just it's like random ideas, like an apple on a top hat, just silly stuff. And he did it for 1,000 days consecutively without stopping, and it was just you can do stuff like that in webcomics you can't do in print comics or other mediums, really.
Yeah, and I'm sure like throughout those making that, like he improved a millionfold just writing and creating those. I mean, I know that when I first started my webcomic, my pages were absolutely horrible.
Oh man.
So we ended up actually having to redo the first 30 pages because the first pages that I did of this webcomic were the first comic pages that I've ever done, and the first time I ever actually tried having a maintainable style. So
Yeah.
you know, part of having a webcomic and having it not having that pressure to print really helps you kind of be more free about it.
It does.
So you can push yourself to improve more.
Yeah, I mean, my first, if you look at my webcomic for the first, like, which is not, mine aren't online anymore. I took them all down a couple years ago. But the first, like, year and a half or year or so of my comic, the art is just garbage. Like, I thought I was doing this fantastic work, and it's just total garbage. And I'm kind of embarrassed by it now because, after 16 years of doing comics, and I've definitely gotten better. But the first ones were like, is a child drawing this? What's going on here? I mean,
I'm on my website. If you go to falconhyrste.com, you can look in the drop-down menu on the left-hand side that says links. And we actually have a gallery that has all of our really, really old pages. And I actually think it's really neat having that up. I mean, if you look at the page that I just posted last week compared to, the first 10, 20 pages that I did, like, that's 3.5 years of work, and that's a lot of improvement, a lot of dedication to keep going on like that, and it's really cool to see, and I love seeing that about other webcomics as well.
Yeah, it is cool. I put out my first book for my webcomic back in 2008 with all with all the original art in it and stuff like that, and people can buy it on Amazon and stuff still. And then I printed up the first 2 issues of putting it into like a comic book form, because the first book was like a big oversized trade paperback, Then I put it in comic book form of the original strips, but colored. And then, then I ended up taking them off the website. I think about a year and a half ago for reasons out. The reasons weren't because I was ashamed of them. I didn't want people to see them. There was other reasons why I took them down. But the idea of seeing like where you started to where you are now is really cool, especially if you're continuing that comic. I mean, the original comic that I started in 2003 went for something like 600 pages total, something like that. So it went for a long time, and just seeing the progression from start to end is cool. And I like seeing that, like I like seeing that in other artists too. So I like to see where they start and then where they are now, because just as an artist myself and as a creator, the improvement factor of people is just so cool to watch.
Yeah, that was pretty much like the reason why I decided to do a webcomic, and now that I've done it, like I've graduated college and I've been published in a bunch of anthologies, and I've branched out and I've done other things, and all of the work, like the abilities and skills that I have now, I owe to this webcomic. So
yeah,
those ugly pages mean a lot to me. They're like they're like ugly children,
right? you love them, and you got to keep them around.
I know.
So what's your plans after this book? Are you going to continue the webcomic? Do you have other plans for other books to work on?
I'm currently working on quite a few different things. I'm working on 2 graphic novels currently, one for a publisher, one that I might pitch to a publisher or do a Kickstarter for.
Cool.
And then I'm currently working on some short stories for a bunch of anthologies. Currently, I'm in Local Haunts, which is currently on Kickstarter right now. At last I checked, we still have about 10,000 to go in our goal, but it's really cool. I'm doing a story about my haunted middle school.
Oh, nice.
So if we're plugging Kickstarters right now, I suggest you also check out that one as well. And as for the webcomic for Falconhyrste, it's going to be a very long comic. It's been about almost 4 years right now, and we're not even a third of the way.
Oh, dang.
So I'm hoping sometime next year to kickstart issue 5, and then once we finish off the first arc, I kind of want to do just like a really huge volume, like with all the pages, because I think it'll be close to about 300. So hopefully by that time we'll have a big enough audience to be able to kickstart a project like that.
That'd be cool. Yeah, it is cool to put it all together in one big volume, so you can just sit and read the whole thing, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time today, and
no problem.
Do you have a special link to your comic, or is it just search for it on Kickstarter?
I have a website, falconhyrste.com, and then on that website I will have a bunch of links to the Kickstarter, so
Cool.
it should be accessible from there.
And I'll have links down in the show notes below to both the website and just one directly to the Kickstarter as well. So if anybody wants to check it out, I highly recommend go check it out. And if you can, back it. If you can't, share it around so everybody else can see it.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah, that book sounds really cool. I had a lot of fun talking with Melissa. She was really nice.
Yeah, and not to be weird, but there's a theme with with both books that we're presenting today about the creators, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because totally by happenstance, this is very much an LGBTQ edition of
it's
Kickstarter
really
Signal
cool.
Boost, which is awesome.
Yeah, I kind of wish we were doing this on Pride Week just because.
right. Kind of make it match with what's going on. But I mean, we've actually, if you think about it, we've actually had a lot of LGBTQ creators on the Signal Boost over the last, 16 episodes. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, believe what you want on either side of the political aisle, but the LGBTQ community is always very inclusive of the people that want to be involved, whether you're gay or not. It doesn't matter.
Right. I've always had great interactions with it. It's great. I love it. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know how to say it without sounding weird, so I'm just going to say it, right? There's a certain aesthetic to a lot of LGBTQ books, comics, right? And I really like it. I love the color choices they use. I love the way they draw characters. I say they like it's some random, but the aesthetic that comes out of that is at least what I've seen out of obviously not all of them are that way, but a lot of them have this certain aesthetic to them, and they're not similar. It's just, you notice similarities. Like when you look at superhero books, you see similarities from Marvel and DC that are there.
Yeah.
I've noticed that there's certain color choices that go into them. And I'm like, wow, these are.
I don't think I would notice if I didn't know the background. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? It's but because we're talking with people from all walks of life. It's interesting to see the changes in choices that they make in their books. Because there's no doubt about it. Your background and your life choices make a difference in how you choose color, how you dictate violence, how you show romance, how you show aggression, all that kind of stuff is really deemed from your own life experiences. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's cool to see what builds up a person.
That's cool. So next on the list is Sam Bowen and Ari.
Good luck.
Plachinsky. So next on the list is Sam Bowen and Ari Plachinsky with Goldfinch.
Real quick, what would you prefer we call you?
I go by John.
John. Okay. Hi. Nice to meet you, John. I'm Ari.
Hi.
I'm Sam. All right. So we do a graphic novel called Goldfinch. We're currently in the middle of our Kickstarter.
Yep. Created by both me, Sam Bowen, and Ari Plachinsky.
Hi. So the story is about a factory worker named Leah. The world is like a high fantasy
gangster noir.
Yeah, D&D inspired gangster noir.
That's a cool description.
It's actually related to our webcomic we do called Woodlands, which takes place thousands of years before this story takes place. And that's about like a satyr who's trying to become a mage.
Yeah.
Nice. So I'm looking at Kickstarter. Before you keep going, I have some questions quick that popped up in my head when I looked at the Kickstarter here. Mostly because I appreciate art. Art that's, let me phrase that. I appreciate art that's in a style that I don't or have never tried drawing in before. So who does the art?
Both of us.
Yeah.
So
both of you.
So Ari will, we'll both write the script together. Ari will then thumbnail it and do pencils. And then I will ink everything, and then Ari will color it.
Sometimes she'll flat for me.
Yeah, sometimes I'll flat. We kind of pass it off back and forth.
But then she paints better, like, large exterior stuff.
Yeah.
We're literally the extension of one person at this
Pretty
point.
much.
I love it. I love the collaborative effort there. That's really cool. That makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah. Hive mind.
Yeah.
No. That's awesome. All right, go back to your pitch there. You were saying the book. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, you're good.
So the story's like a rom-com gangster noir drama style thing. And it's about Leah, who's a factory worker who is sick of these like really awful conditions. I'm sorry, real quick, can I swear?
Oh, absolutely. We swear all the time.
Okay. All right. She's sick of working in these shit conditions and decides that she needs to send a message to the higher-ups. So it goes horribly wrong and she's out of a job. And is offered a new gig from this lunatic girl she meets in a park at night, who she thinks is just like a roving bard, but turns out to be the leader of one of the city's most infamous gangs. And she is asked to become their getaway driver. Mm-hmm. So the story focuses around her sort of just trying to navigate her place in this gang once she joins. She becomes the driver for the boss who, romantic tension builds there.
Yeah.
We learn about her name is Orin. Mm-hmm. And she's the leader of the gang, but also like recently just took it over because she was left the gang after the previous boss had died.
Yeah,
right.
So she's a mess. Running around trying to run a gang. So.
So the story takes place at a place called the Goldfinch Lounge, which is a place that bootlegs potions. Mm-hmm. So it's like a speakeasy for magical potions.
Yeah, but they kind of grant you like. If you play D&D, you have to roll for, like, charisma checks and, like, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's potions for buffs.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a really cool concept. I like it. I like the way you're taking that. That's awesome. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm staring at the pages and the thing, and I just really like I like the expression in the faces and the colors and just everything about the art it pops to me. I like it.
A lot of fun.
See, I draw more... I draw a lot of horror comic type stuff, so it's a lot of like not complete lines or sketchy stuff to look like creepiness. So it's like totally opposite style of this, but this is cool because I'm like, if I was going to draw this, how would I do it? And a lot of it, I'm like, I wouldn't want to do that because it's too clean of lines.
Yeah, it's crazy when you think about it because when you think about like noir comics, you think about like Frank Miller and stuff. So you think about like heavy spot black and all that.
Yeah.
I kind of realized when I got a copy of Black Sad, is that how you pronounce it?
Sad, yeah.
That you don't really have to do that to do mystery comics,
mm-hmm.
and I have never been good at spot black, like not at all. So my style came out of the desperation of not knowing how to do spot black.
Nice.
My friend was so good at it, and he's like, "Oh, you just look for the shadows." I'm like, "Dude,
sure, can
nope."
Spot black is so easy to mess up too. If you don't get like where to put it, it can take something from that looks totally like badass and cool to being like, why is there black here?
Where is anything? That's why Sam inks.
Yeah. I'll take the ink. It's fine.
Nice. So do you pencil and ink traditionally, or do you do it on a tablet?
We do the pencils traditionally, and then I have a Cintiq that I ink on.
Oh, nice. How do you like that?
Digital.
Yeah.
Nice. How do you like inking on a Cintiq?
It's really nice. It's hard. I gotta discipline myself because it's easy to like zoom in real close and get really noodly when you have a deadline. So
right.
But yeah, it took some practice, kind of keeping like those gestural lines that you have like in the sketch work. But yeah, it's definitely like faster, I think, for me.
And she thinks sketchy, but her work is like so clean. I look at it, I'm like, what the hell?
That's awesome. Yeah, I've ventured into doing digital inking, but I'm so entranced in the world of using like a dip pen or pen and ink and quills that every time I try it on my tablet here, I'm like, all right, this isn't for me right now. I'm not good at it, so it takes me longer. So I'm like, I'll just get my brush pens out.
Yeah. I'm also like, if I get really attached to a sketch, like, I mean, I'll have to like make a copy of it, but I get like scared to like mess it up, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I envy people that can traditional ink because it seems like witchcraft. Like it's
yeah.
It is witchcraft. It's all witchcraft. It's all art is. Various types of witchcraft. So
different schools of magic.
Right. What gave you guys the idea for the story?
Oh man. I guess full disclosure, we had these characters as OCs for a long time.
Yeah.
And we decided like, hey, we need to focus on another big project that we want to do. We knew that.
Honestly, you came home. It was like we had them for like a year, maybe a little over. She came home from work real late one night and was like, okay, I have an idea. And then we got basically.
Just have the jobs, you slip into a trance, and all of a sudden,
You're just like, I have an idea.
oh, I got it. The
We can
entire
use
story.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we found a way to tie it into, years and years later, but we found a way to tie it into our webcomic Woodlands. too,
Yeah,
so
I like
it's
doing
good.
companion stories.
Yeah,
That's
but
cool. That's
there's
cool.
like little Easter eggs. If you read Woodlands, there's little Easter eggs that you'll be able to see in Goldfinch too.
Yeah.
So,
But I binge history podcasts like no one else. Like, I love them so much. Like, you got a new listener now, because I didn't even know about this, and this is
yeah.
Yes, score.
So, I knew I wanted to do something turn of the century, and I was like, I got to do some kind of like Kingster Noir style thing. So I was like, hey, we have
love
these
that
characters,
aesthetic,
let's just
yeah.
do it. Yeah.
That's what you do. Just dive in and be like, all right, let's figure it out, right? Let's do it.
Actually.
But I also really like writing fantasy, so I was like, I don't want to do anything that's like,
yeah.
just purely history, because there's a lot of research with it. And I was like, it's so much more fun if you can throw a fantasy element in there.
Exactly.
Right. Because that gives you the element to make shit up, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool. So do you have plans for after this book's out of what you're going to do with, are these characters going to continue after this book, or is this a one-shot thing?
This is, it's going to be, we're not really sure how many volumes now it's going to be, but we have, like, the whole thing kind of planned out.
Yeah, we're planning on tentatively 3 books.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
We'd like to...
Yeah, we would like to take it to a publisher if given the opportunity. So that's what we'll be gearing it towards.
Yep.
Well, I can't comment on the writing because I haven't read it, but I can comment the art is definitely good enough to be out there on the shelves. So that's a plus for you.
A lot. Thank you.
So
You're just in the studio and you're just kind of like,
Is this
what am I doing?
like, is this good enough? I don't know, but no, I know I've said it multiple times, but the art's fantastic, and I'm sure the quality of the writing it matches the art. That's great for you guys.
It would show to everyone.
Yay.
Well, I'll have links out, and I'll be sharing this out for everybody who listens to our show and follows us on all of our social media, so they'll all get to see it. So that'll be nice.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Again, I want to say thank you so much for joining me and talking to me for these 10 minutes here and letting me babble about everything.
Anytime.
Yeah. So everybody listening, there'll be links down in the show notes to the Kickstarter. Check it out. Again, the art is beautiful. There's a couple sample pages on there that I'm going to read after this because now that I've seen the art, I want to read them. So
Awesome.
go check it out. If you can afford to back it, please back it. If you can't, share it around because sharing helps more than people realize.
Yeah, thank you. And
Thank
Sam did a
you.
really cool video for it, so at the very least, you got to go check out the video because she busted her ass on making it.
Yeah, videos are not easy to make.
No, they're not.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
thank
Thank you.
All right, wait 1 second.
That does sound cool. I always love a good mob story. I think that's why the Punisher is one of my favorite characters because he always deals within the mob world.
Right. And like as I said on the show, and I kind of felt dumb when I was talking to him because I kept like going back to, man, the artwork is beautiful. The artwork is beautiful because just something about the aesthetic of the way the clean lines and the color choice and then the shadowing they use. I was in awe.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, as I tell everybody who draws in a style that I don't draw in, I really appreciate styles I don't see myself working in because if I look at a comic or look at artwork, I'm like, well, I could draw that. It's not as impressive to me because I could do it. Right.
But when you see something that you're like,
Which is-
that's beyond my talent.
Yeah. As I told them, I'm like, I'm not sure how I would do that or if I would even want to try and draw this.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, if people who don't know, if they haven't seen your work, the best way for me to describe your work is, have you ever watched the movie Heavy Metal? And if you
Yes.
watch the first story of the taxi driver finding the orb, that whole sequence reminds me, your work very much reminds me of that.
Oh, I take that as a big
Yeah,
compliment.
you will good. It was meant to be. Because
Nice.
everybody has a different style. So it's
Right,
cool
right.
that you found 2 very unique people, or 2 unique books, I should say, because there's 3 people in this, but 2
Yeah.
unique books that showcase some very good stylized work.
Well, and what's cool too is I forgot to mention it earlier, but both of these books, the people who the 2 people, each one has 2 people who create
Yeah.
them, and both sets of people, they are very collaborative in what they do. They write together. On each book, one of them does like the pencils, the other one does the inks, and they do the coloring. They go back and forth on the steps of how to make the book, and it just the synergy in that is just really
That's
cool.
awesome.
The collaborative synergy is awesome. How to make those books.
Synergy, especially when it comes to writing independent books, synergy is important because a lot of times you get one person that has a vision, and then it's impossible for anybody else to do anything right.
Yeah, exactly. This is great because, as I said, they're the one who they keep each other in check and don't let them go too far off the rails. They keep them balanced on the prize at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, there you guys go. 2 amazing books, 3 amazing people. Go check out, and if you can give them a backing on Kickstarter, please do. And if you can't, share. I think we say this every time, but we can't say enough.
Yes.
If you like what you saw, please back. If you don't have the ability to back, please share, because it helps.
Exactly. It helps so much.
Well, there you guys go. I think that's all we have for today, right?
That's all we have a show. And like as Kenric usually says, you can catch us up on all podcatchers out there. Anyone, load them up, put in Spoiler Country, you'll find us. You can talk to us on any social media out there. Just look for us. We're going to be on them. We're on Pinterest. We're on Tumblr. All of them. We're on all of them. So you can just find us there.
Yep. And we have a voicemail, right?
We do. It's 707-656-2080. Again, 707-656-2080. Call, leave a voicemail. It's fun. We'll do something with them eventually.
There you go. So until next time, guys, don't forget, open that mind.
And read more.